Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Bolden, he'll shoot and he'll score! What in the area! And it's Mark
A very good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV. I'm your pre-game show host, John Donovan. Well, is a week enough time to mend a broken heart? I'll leave that for you to decide. What I can say is over 2,000 loyal fans, and of course you lot watching at home, go again with Cardiff City today as they travel to the MATCHDAY Stadium to take on relegation-threatened Reading. We can't, nor should we of course, ignore last week's Derby Day defeat, so I will be talking about that amongst a number of other things with my colleague Ashley James in a few moments. But in terms of Cardiff City, it is indeed another Saturday, it is indeed another game and a chance to show improvement, a chance to show that the upward trajectory they had shown during the month of March hasn't been completely impeded by that Swansea-sized rose block last weekend. And on that note, we should say congratulations to Steve Morrison and his coaching team for a well-deserved Manager of the Month award for the period of March. And as we say, it is a chance now for Cardiff City to resume and continue what had been a very positive run, and a chance to look at things for next season and get those building blocks in place. They go to the MATCHDAY Stadium to take on Reading, who are still threatened by relegation. Although with games running out, it will take something of a miracle to be caught by either Barnsley or Derby. You would suggest that one, maybe two more wins for the Royals will be enough to guarantee championship survival. Hopefully that won't come, or one of those won't come against Cardiff City today. For Cardiff City, they are looking to plan and set foundations in place for next season. As we say, Steve Morrison was very passionate about that in his press conference yesterday, talking about the fact that he and his coaching staff have been working to a plan the whole time, and that will continue at the MATCHDAY today, and it will continue with a much changed Cardiff City side. And this is something I'll also be picking up with Ashley James in a few moments, mainly because we've had a little bit of a difference of opinion on how this shape will look. What I can tell you, it's 4 changes for the Bluebirds in their lineup today compared to that which took the field against Swansea last weekend. Ash thinks it's the same shape, just with different personnel. I've got a sneaky feeling it might be 4-3-3 with the ball, 4-5-1 without the ball. That probably tells you we haven't really got a clue at the moment, but we will see when the game kicks off. Taking you through the Cardiff City team there in full. Dylan Phillips in goal. If indeed it is a back four for Cardiff, we are suggesting perhaps Joel Bagan on the left, Cody Drummer on the right, and a centre-half pairing of Perry NG and Curtis Nelson. If indeed it is to be a 3 in midfield, and I have to caveat all of this by saying I'm most likely wrong, but Ryan Wintle will be the centre of the 3, Joe Rawls and Tommy Doyle either side, and up top, Jordan Hugill leading the line with Alfie Doherty perhaps playing from the left and Ruben Colwell from the right. And as I say, in my mind, that makes it a very easy 4-5-1 when Cardiff don't have the ball. But I'm usually wrong. Ash normally gets it right. So don't be surprised to see the normal wing-back formation, which is probably what we've set out on our graphic this afternoon. For Reading, well, they had a good win last time out against Stoke City, which moved them further clear of Derby and Reading. They make one change to their lineup. Paul Ince is the manager of Reading these days. His son Tom Ince comes straight back in to the lineup in their only change. They will line up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Their team is Nyland in goal, and then a back four of McIntyre, Holmes, Morrison and Yedom. Lauren and Drinkwater, of course, Danny Drinkwater, a former Cardiff City loanee, will be the 2 holding midfielders. Junior Hoylett, goal scorer, former Cardiff City favourite. He scored the winning goal last time out when Reading beat Cardiff at Cardiff City Stadium. He will play from the left today. Tom Ince from the right. John Swift in the number 10 role behind Lucas Zhao. So 4-2-3-1 for Reading against well, we shall see for Cardiff City. And that gives me a lovely segue, as you see some pictures on your screen here of Reading and Cardiff City players arriving earlier, to bring in my colleague Ashley James, who should be in situ at the MATCHDAY Stadium to talk about all things Reading today, and of course a little bit of reflection on the bitterness of last Saturday. So I'm going to hope by the wonders of modern technology we can throw it over to Ashley James, who should be in position. Ash, can you hear me? Are you coming in loud and clear?
Afternoon, John. I've got you. You got me. Hello.
At the MATCHDAY Stadium. We will try again as we go to live pictures, but otherwise we've got plenty more content for you. Ash, one more chance. Are you here? Are you here with me?
I'm here. Yeah. Have you? Can you hear me? I'm in place. It seems to work. Hello.
He and his team had to go again, but it would be disrespectful to Cardiff City fans if we didn't at least have a moment of reflection on it. And Ash, I don't know about you, it's still painful, and Cardiff City have to find a way when they go into these derby days to match the passion of Swansea, also matching the football ability of Swansea as well.
Yeah. I think it's more the latter than the former. To be honest, I think yes, you've obviously got to play the occasion. You've got to match passion. You've got to match commitment. But this isn't amateur football. It's not professional football from the 70s. If you get your tactics wrong in a game of professional football at the Championship level, then you're pretty much doomed. And that's what Cardiff have done the last two derbies now, I think. And, we spoke before the game last week, John, on pitchside, and said, we thought we felt like we'd turned the corner in the season, which we had, of course, pulling ourselves clear of relegation with such ease. After that was looking perilous for a while. And we thought that there was no need for the doom and gloom about, having to have that same conversation that Cardiff City have got a complex about the South Wales derby, and then 2 hours later we're right back where we started again, because it's quite evident that we do. It's something that we need to fix. We need to fix pronto. But I think it was tactically last week, and I think Cardiff couldn't exert the level of press on the Swansea back three that they would have liked to have done, because obviously that would have been the game plan. That's what teams set out to do against Swansea, because that's how you hurt them. They rather make problems for themselves defensively than you doing anything proactive in that regard. I certainly think that was the game plan. I don't think it was technically naive from Cardiff, because I think if you're not going to go and press their back three, then Mark Harris doesn't start the game. So I think it was a case that the players didn't carry out the instructions with obviously the level of commitment and execution that the manager would have liked. And I think a large part of that was because of how well Swansea utilised Joel Pirro playing wider, deeper on the right-hand side. It caused problems for Bagan and McGuinness, for Bagan and Rolls, and then Rolls and Mark Harris. Those combinations, it just caused problems for them all day long, and it really, really had an impact on Cardiff then being able to press Swansea high up the pitch.
I think that's a fair assessment, Ash, and as I say, it's probably been spoken about enough in the media this week. We've had our own private conversations, as has been going on all over Cardiff, in the homes of Cardiff City fans, so we'll try and leave that there, although I suspect that will hurt for quite some time. Turning our attentions to today, Ash, and we're going to hear from the manager in a moment, but you and I had a little bit of a WhatsApp conversation when the team came out before I arrived at the studio. You've gone for the same system with different personnel. I've looked at it and think, well, there's an option to go 4-3-3 with the ball and 4-5-1 without. What perhaps that is telling us is we're going in a little bit into the unknown, and Cardiff City could be experimenting a little today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a change in personnel, and as you said, it could be a change in system. So the reason I'm reluctant to say it's a change in system is because I don't see the manager throwing Perry and G into playing as a centre-back in a pairing alongside a Curtis Nelson who's just returning to first-team football this quickly. I could be wrong. and it could be a battlements of fire for the two of them. Go and prove your worth to me next year, because you're two of the ones who are under contract next year. So go and prove your worth as a pairing to me, and you've got the head start. But I don't see that being the case. I think Bagan will play as a left-sided centre half, certainly to begin with. But what it does mean, you've got a bit more flexibility, I think, in that team and that formation to go and change things up. It would also mean probably Ruben Colwell playing off the right-hand side if it's a back four, playing on the right wing with Doughty on the left. So you're going to get pace and width on one side, but then not the other. There's more question marks about that than there is the alternative for me. So I think Joel Bagan maybe playing as a left-sided centre half makes a little bit more sense, and that was a position that actually a lot of people presumed is where he would make his mark in first team football when he was coming through.
Ash, we appreciate your prognosis and hypothesis as always. Don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back to you very shortly. But we've talked a lot about Steve Morison thus far. And of course, again, congratulations. Manager of the month for March. He spoke to the assembled media yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
We had a plan in place all along. Funnily enough, we plan and we have an idea. Not that anyone seems to believe us, but we had a plan. We knew what we was going to do going into the Swansea game, as long as everyone come through the international break okay, which they did. And then we had a plan going into Reading, and we've got an idea of what we want to do between now and the end of the season. And yeah, we'll do stuff. We'll do stuff at the right time. It's definitely not a case of just trying stuff just for the sake of trying stuff. It's trying stuff because there's a purpose to it, and it's part of where we want to evolve to, definitely over the off season and into the new season. So, but don't start expecting to start seeing a load of academy players playing outside of the ones that have been involved so far, because you still have to do things at the right time. And I have an email sitting on my desk that says that we have to remember that we're the integrity of the game is something that we have to take into account as well, because lots of the teams we're playing against, including Reading on Saturday, are playing for a hell of a lot of stuff as well. So we have to remember that. It's definitely not right to turn up against, I don't know, a Reading, a Luton, a Hull, all teams that are playing for stuff at Derby, etc., Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, with a team that we're doing just for the sake of it, to give people debuts to see if they're good enough, etc. It has to be done within the right structure, which I totally agree with as well, because that gives you the best opportunity to see these players in the best light as well. That self-motivation and that drive has to come from within. There's only so much we can ask for as staff. Once you step over that white line, that's that inner drive and inner belief in yourself and whatever your motivation, whether it's money, family, success, whatever it might be. That's for you to bring out, and whatever the players are picked on Saturday, whatever they use as their motivation, if it's the proving people wrong from the game previously, or whether it's they're in the team and they want to stay in the team, or they've got their opportunity that they haven't had yet. That's what drives football players to be the best they can be. And also, pressure is tough, and sometimes you don't handle pressure very well, as we saw on Saturday.
Steve Morison there talking to the media yesterday, and what was a passionate but considered press conference, I feel, coming off the back of Derby Day defeat and of course leading in today against Reading. I'm joined again, hopefully, by my esteemed colleague Ashley James, who is in situ at the MATCHDAY Stadium. And Ash, as much as it was a bitter pill to swallow, Steve Morison was right in the sense that the first mission of when he came in was accomplished. We're relatively, we think, safe from relegation. Is now Steve Morison throwing down the gauntlet to his players to see who wants to be here next year, who can play in the structure that he wants to play? Are the remaining 7 games about the players proving themselves all over again to Steve Morison?
I think it has to be, John. I think, look, inside the football club, the coaching staff and the players, this is their livelihood. They don't care about narrative. But from a fan's point of view, if you think about, the interest in this season, it's been a very miserable season, isn't it? Let's be honest. But, the narrative quickly turned after Bristol City that, oh God, we could genuinely get relegated here. And then we did incredibly well to pull ourselves out of that mire so quickly. And the narrative quickly then turned from a fan perspective to, well, can we reel in Swansea? Can we finish above Swansea? Can we win the derby? Can we protect that record? That's now gone. So, absolutely, the professionals within the camp and the players, they're playing for their futures because, look, we all know the situation with the number of players out of contract in this summer. And that's not to say that everyone who's under contract is also safe for their future here. So, there's a lot to play for from their point of view. And now from the fans, you've got to cling to something, surely, as a narrative to keep the interest here in the rest of the season, because there's 2,000 of them out there. It's absolutely remarkable the faith they keep in the football club, the fact that they've been let down time and time again this season, and it's remarkable that they're continuing to turn out in force.
Yeah, they'll be making themselves heard. It feels unfair to focus on one player who has to make an impression, but I'm going to contradict myself by doing that. We all know, we're all realistic. Alex Smithies is out of contract. Hopefully there might be an agreement that he can stay. But so is Dylan Phillips, and we haven't seen a lot of Dylan Phillips this season. It's really a big moment for him to step into the spotlight, put his hand up to Steve Morison and say, look, I should have that number 1 shirt for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if to expand that out into a pairing, it's Curtis Nelson as well, because he's missed a lot of time through injury, for the majority of this season. He was not playing in his most natural position, playing on the left of a 3, seeing a lot of possession, which on his weaker side, which wasn't ideal for him earlier. And, he was playing in a team that really lacked ball movement at the time, and he was a part of a lot of that because he was seeing far too much possession in an area that's not fair to him and he's not comfortable in. So I think you're right. I think there are 2 players there in the goalkeeping situation in Curtis Nelson today that have real opportunities that, they've both been thrown back in at the earliest opportunity here. And they have a chance to really set that marker down for the manager going into next season. And they won't be the last. I suspect that this will be a weekly occurrence now, is that you get that opportunity to really throw a marker down at a couple of players and say, look, show me what you've got for next season, because I need to know why I need to keep you around.
Let's turn our attention, Ash, before the next interview to Reading. It was a little bit of a left field appointment, Paul Ince coming in. He'd been on pundit for quite some time. Of course, he's there with his son, and if he can get Tom Ince playing, he can be a potent weapon. It seems to have worked, whether it's a long-term arrangement. They're playing this 4-2-3-1 formation. Good result last time out against Stoke. Is this a stroke of genius, Ash, or is this just a short-term solution to try and get them away from the relegation zone?
Yeah, it gives us all hope, doesn't it, that we can get plucked off the commentary couch. But no, it's done remarkably well. They're unbeaten in 4. They've won 4 of the last 10. They were 11 games without a win before that, so you can't knock the impact he's had at all. And I think he's come in at the right time in terms of they've got some key players back from injury. Liguishau is a huge return for them up front. He just gives them a focal point that the likes of George Pushkastis didn't at the start of the season. They were even playing Junior Hoylett, as a false 9 at times. He's now going to take his natural position on the left-hand side of a front 3. And the worrying thing about Cardiff is not just the momentum that Reading have got here a little bit, as Junior, riding high as well from his international exploits, and congratulations to him and his family. Seeing Canada to a World Cup is a huge achievement. But also, looking from the outside, looking in, this is the most balanced Reading starting 11 that I've seen this season. There's only one square peg really, in that Tom McIntyre is playing as a left back today, and he's probably a left-sided centre half. But elsewhere, it looks a really balanced, strong 11 And that is a worry for Cardiff because Reading haven't been able to say that this season. They've had an awful lot of injury problems, and they've been playing an awful lot of square pegs in round holes for the match of this season. This looks like a really strong 11 for them.
No, I agree with you entirely there, Ash. And just my final question, because it gives me a chance to talk about, I think, one of my favourite players in the Championship. Maybe injuries, maybe consistency that derails him. But when John Swift is on the pitch, I always think he's a joy to watch in terms of finding the holes, finding the pockets of space, linking the play. He can obviously pop up with a goal as well. So you've named a number of danger men there for Reading. But for me, John Swift's probably top of that list.
Talented player, isn't he? And you're right, his consistency has been an issue with him for his career, but probably exacerbated by the injuries he's had. Educated at Chelsea, we know his quality. That season he had with Brentford about 5 years ago in the Championship was a brilliant season. It was really that season where Brentford really started to make their mark at the Championship level. There's a balance about the three in midfield today, which I think is huge. Swift as the 10, Laurent, who's played as a centre-half at times this season, who's played as a 10 at times, can just play his natural position in the middle of the park and give energy alongside Granny Drinkwater, who's got a run of games, finally showing some form from his point of view as well. And I think their best midfielder's not playing today in Andy Rinomhota, and that is a loss for them. But that three in the middle of the park is a huge boost to them. And it means the likes of Ovia Jaria, who's cruelly out of form at the moment and has been all season, he can go back to a bench role, and they can just use him with a little sprinkling of magic off the bench if needed instead of really relying on them. Obviously, the good omen for Cardiff is we've got such a stellar record here in Reading. It's exactly the type of fixture we need to bounce back. Haven't won here since 2011, when, of course, Mark Hudson was on the score sheet and not in the dugout.
Indeed, he was, Ash. I say this every time that we sign off. Go and bring the 3 points home. You very rarely do this season, but go and bring the 3 points home. My thanks to Ashley James there, who's getting into position with Mark Denham for audio commentary today. And we wish Mark and Ashley the best in their position at the Madejski Stadium. If you're watching picture commentary, video commentary, you're with me today here from the Cardiff City Stadium. That will come the other side of the next set of clips. We've got Jordan Hugel coming up now, along with our traditional top five. And then when we come back after that, it will be kick-off time, Cardiff City against Reading. Don't go anywhere.
A difficult result to take on the weekend. How's the reaction been in training this week?
It's been good. Obviously, we were disappointed after the game, as everyone was. But I think we've had a good training week just to get ourselves back going again, and then we're ready for the test on Saturday. It's going to be a tough one again, but as I said, we're ready for it.
So the focus, entirely looking forward, I suppose, both to this game on Saturday, bouncing back, and then afterwards a couple of games left this season.
Yeah, we are, and I think that's all we can do. I mean, as you said, it's never nice to lose, especially in a derby as well, so it's never nice, but that's all we can do is take the next game, and then we can start another run to end the season.
I was going to say, exactly, it's 7 matches remaining, so plenty still to play for, plenty of points on the table as well.
Yeah, there is, and I think now it's about us and how far do we want to finish up that league as players. For me personally, finish as high up as I can in the league until the end of the season, so I think we just go again and hopefully start another run and finish the season unbeaten.
Of course, heading up to Reading now on the weekend, it's going to be a sold out away end, all that, so I imagine it's one of them where you really are looking forward to playing in front of those away supporters. Yeah,
it is. I mean, I'm looking forward to playing in front of the supporters every week anyway, so this weekend's no different, but as I said, it's always a full end from the away fans, and hopefully we'll hear all the support on the pitch.
Reading being in a fairly similar position on the table, it's going to be quite a challenge.
We know what they're about. They're going to be fighting for their lives as well. They don't want to get sucked into what's going on below them, as same as we're just looking up, and I'm sure they are as well. So both teams want to be fighting to get as high up that table.
Steve Morrison's won the Manager of the Month from Sky Bet Championship for March. How happy are you for Steve and for the team with that kind of accolade? Yeah,
I think it's a brilliant reward for the club and the hard work that the staff has been putting in as well as the players. So it's obviously, it'd be nice for them to be recognised for what they've done, but we've still got a job to do now until the end of the season. So hopefully we can go again and we'll see if we can get some more season.
For yourself, just looking to get some more goals as well?
Yeah, ideally that's how I'd like to finish, but as I said, I came here to make sure that the club was safe, and I feel as though we've done that at the moment. So now it's just about more personal accolades and getting up that league, scoring some goals, getting some more assists.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Back on his own line. Hoylett into Mendes-Lange to the box. Hoylett comes again across goal. McShane again. Bennett again. Goals! Lifeline for Cardiff. With 8 minutes to go, it's deserved. Reading 2, Cardiff 1.
Well, finally, the pressure in the wide area pays off.
Tomlin turns in the area, clips that in there, Bamber's in there, hits the bar, Tomlin hits the bar again! The referee has given the goal! Lee Tomlin has made it 2-2! And the scenes here at the Medeski, incredible behind the goal!
It's a massive throw in the 6-yard area. It's headed away by the Reading defence. Won by Conway going forward. Tries the shot. Beaten away. Chance here. Again the goalkeeper saves it from Miller. Cleared away by the Reading defence. That was a great effort by Conway.
Definitely so over the top. What a goal! What an absolute world-class goal from Peter Whittingham from range. Looks like he's done it justice.
Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City. If you are just joining us, if you watched the pre-game show earlier, welcome back. The teams are taking the field. Reading, of course, blue and white boots. Cardiff in the away pink strip today. John Donovan, your commentator this afternoon, as the Bluebirds look to bounce back from Derby Day debacle last Saturday in what is a much changed Cardiff City lineup this afternoon, as we see Paul Ince and Steve Morrison shaking hands there. Paul Ince has done very well since coming in as caretaker manager to Reading. Almost safe the Royal one, maybe 2 more wins should do it. Hopefully it will come this afternoon against the Bluebirds. As I say, it is a changed Cardiff City lineup. If you were watching the pre-game show, well, we'll get to that momentarily, but as the graphic comes up, here is the Reading lineup. One change from their last match, a win against Stoke City. Tom Ince comes back into play. I think from the right-hand side, that graphic is somewhat in error. Junior Hoylett should go back over to the left. Look out for John Swift, the danger man for Reading. 11 goals and 30 assists so far this season for Hoyle. Also off the bench, Majaria is a name that's done damage to Cardiff City previously. He's somebody who could be an impact sub. Well, for Cardiff, and we've had a couple of stabs. This is not our graphic, by the way, but we've had a couple of stabs at what we think the formation will be. Ashley James is going for the same wing-back formation. I think 4-3-3 with the ball, 4-5-1 without. That's a 4-2-3-1. It's going to be interesting to find out. But 4 changes with Dylan Phillips coming in alongside Curtis Nelson, Alfie Doherty, and Ruben Colwell. We will wait to see how that affects the Cardiff City lineup and how the Bluebirds will shape up against Reading this afternoon. decent crowd at the MATCHDAY Stadium. Of course, that is enhanced by over 2,000 travelling Cardiff City fans, including representatives of Cardiff City Disabled Association. We hope they enjoyed their afternoon. I know they had a very good Q&A with Steve Morrison and Will Folks, I think, on